We have an opportunity in the western part of the United States to do things that are completely remarkable because we have the resources to solve the issues related to rural health. We have an opportunity to build world-class education. We have an opportunity to create communities that are healthy and safe and vibrant. They're going to help us attract workforce.
Hello, and welcome to Out West, the official podcast of the Western Governors Association, a bipartisan organization representing the governors of the 22 westernmost states and territories. I'm Jim Ogsberry, Executive Director of WGA. This episode of Out West kicks off a series about reimagining the rural West, the chair's initiative of North Dakota Governor and WGA Chair Doug Burgum. Each episode of this series will focus on different aspects of the initiative, examining challenges and opportunities in rural economic development, infrastructure, and quality of life in the rural West. Today's episode finds WGA Policy Advisor Laura Cutlip talking with the governor about why he chose to pursue this initiative.
Governor Doug Burgum is from Arthur, North Dakota, a town of 347 people. He knows about rural life, opportunities, and challenges. His work, both with WGA and through outside initiatives, will help reimagine and reinvigorate rural communities across the West. We first sat down with the governor at WGA's 2019 annual meeting in Vail, Colorado, where he spoke at length about what he hoped to accomplish through his initiative.
We're excited about the initiative, Reimagining the Rural West, because we have to get people to start thinking about this as a bunch of vibrant, healthy, growing communities, as opposed to sort of the classic, Western movie ghost town kind of image of the rural West, because it really has changed, and there's amazing opportunities to raise families and amazing opportunities for individuals, and so we're excited about this initiative and excited about how we're going to continue to help local decision makers at the county level, the city level, the township level, help them build healthy, vibrant communities. They're going to attract workforce, and we're going to talk with them about how do you build smart infrastructure for the 21st century to also do the things to keep cost of living down, keep property taxes down, and make these places not only great places to live, but very affordable places to live.
Many of the topics we will be exploring through this podcast series, Governor Burgum outlined later in his interview. From how we view rural communities, often incorrectly, and the importance of strong leadership, to creating networks and supporting healthy communities for the long term.
One of the challenges that all rural communities are facing is workforce, and workforce is really driven by some really significant historic changes in workforce, because for the first time in the history of the United States, we've got more jobs available in America than we have people looking for jobs. And today's job seeker might be looking for, not just a job, they're looking for a career, they're looking for a lifestyle. And part of that is, again, presents a great advantage for the rural Western states, rural Western communities, because if someone's looking for access to outdoor recreation, whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, winter sports, whatever it might be, they can have all that. And then again, as we build out a broadband connectivity into rural areas, you can still be connected to all of your favorite everything that you want to be connected to, but you have an opportunity maybe for lower cost of living, hassle-free, peace of mind, all of these things that you have, but still be connected and have great opportunities. So when we think about the future of the American West, I'm very optimistic about it, and I think you can't separate the West from the rural West, because while we've got some great metropolitan communities in the western part of the United States, it is just statistically and demographically the land of the wide open spaces.
In the rural West, every community follows a different model for dealing with growth. When I asked the governor to share an example, he looked no further than his home state to find a success story.
Well, one that comes to mind right away is Watford City, North Dakota, and it happened to be the hometown of our lieutenant governor, Brent Sanford, who was the mayor of Watford City. When he became mayor, prior to the latest big phase of economic growth, when he was on city commission, he said, we used to spend time talking about if someone's deck was too close to a property line or a lost dog. They'd spend a couple hours on those topics. Then along came the economic boom, and all of a sudden a town of 1,500 goes to 15,000. And what that community's done to build recreation, public service, new hospital, affordable housing for parents, amazing wolf pup daycare, the new incredible high school, the Rough Rider Center, which is now a community that never had activities before, like gymnastics and hockey teams coming into play. And so it is really, really incredible to see how when you've got great local leadership like Brent was providing and great community support and collaboration between the county and the city and the private sector and the public sector, what amazing things can happen in rural America. And Watford City was a town that when Brent's daughter was born, there was 6 kids born that year in the county. She graduated, this year from a school that's averaging over 200 kids per class, and there's people there from states from all over the country and from 18 different countries. And so again, the amount of diversity we've seen, we haven't seen this kind of diversity since the state was settled by immigrants 120 years ago. So that's really fun to see how it can work and when it works well, what it can mean to create a great quality of life for all the citizens.
As part of the governor's Reimagining the Rural West initiative, WGA has hosted a series of workshops across the region to provide a forum for local experts and stakeholders to share their personal experiences surrounding relevant policy issues. Many of those we interviewed for future episodes of this podcast attended those workshops. At the first workshop in October of 2019, held in Fargo, North Dakota, Governor Burgum delivered opening remarks that really highlighted the divide between urban and rural areas.
So we've got growth happening in the western part of the United States. And we know that there has been sometimes a divide between the resources and the access to healthcare, to education, to connectivity, to the arts. That vary between large metropolitan areas and more rural areas. So one of the reasons why when we launched this initiative as the chair's initiative this year and we had so much traction from WGA members is because every governor in the western part of the United States is dealing with the same issues that we're dealing here in North Dakota, which is you've got a thriving metropolitan area that has the services, has the education, has the health care, has transportation networks, has all the connectivity, has great things for community to help attract workforce. But then you get into the rural areas, and in the rural areas, like we have in North Dakota here, we've got shortages.
Building partnerships and bridging the urban-rural divide is a theme we've continued to return to across the initiative. In order to remedy certain disparities between those types of communities, Governor Burgum pointed to the need for rural communities to evolve and confront their challenges head-on.
If we want our rural communities, we want our rural areas to thrive, if we want them to move beyond extraction-based economies where they're dependent on commodities, world price of commodities, which we can't control, then we have to figure out how to do value added. We have to figure out how to deliver services. We have to figure out how to do it. And that ties back again to there's a huge opportunity, but we got to have the connectivity to be able to do that. And if we want to solve workforce issues in rural areas, then we have to build communities that people want to live in. Because guess what? A lot of people of all ages, not just millennials, want to live in communities where they have access to the arts, where they have access, to forms of community. In Fargo, they're driving all the connectivity and the connectivity that's helping us attract workforce, helping us retain young people, helping us do that. So even the older institutions like the Chamber, like the EDCs, have got to learn from these new models and these young folks, these young social entrepreneurs that are actually changing the fabric of how people interact in a community.
Looking forward, Governor Burgum sees a lot of opportunity for the West, specifically with regard to technology's role in fostering connectivity.
We ought to embrace it, and then we ought to just take the opportunity to cancel out all that noise, focus on the signal, and the signal is that we have an opportunity in the western part of the United States to do things that are completely remarkable because we have the resources to solve the issues related to rural health. We have an opportunity to build world-class education. We have an opportunity to create communities that are healthy and safe and vibrant. They're going to help us attract workforce. But when we're doing that, we also need to make sure that we're taking care of making sure that we get broadband, and not just broadband, but we got to go from connecting schools and community to connecting every combine, every tractor, every device that's out there in the whole state, which means that we've got to get from wired to also wireless. That way we can have autonomous farms. That way we can have safer highways. That way we can have better rural health and rural connectivity. So there's so many things things and opportunities that we would have there. But the last thing I want to say when we talk about community is equally important, because this goes back to how do we build communities that people want to live in. They've got to be safe. They've got to be walkable. We have to have arts. We have to have entertainment. When we talk about opportunities related to workforce, when we talk about healthcare, when we talk about education, when we're talking about that in North Dakota, we also include all of those tribal nations with which we share geography, because some of the biggest challenges that we have in those areas exist in some of those extremely rural areas, which also are reservation land.
Ultimately, Governor Burgum says collaboration is the key to reimagining rural communities.
Working together, we can have an incredible impact, because again, the opportunity is incredible, the connectivity is essential, and community is what's going to allow us to help raise and benefit all the citizens of the western part of the United States.
We are so excited to explore all of the opportunities, successes, and lessons learned by a variety of experts from a range of sectors across the West about all of the ways rural communities can reimagine themselves.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Out West, presented by the Western Governors Association. To learn more about Governor Burgum's Reimagining the Rural West initiative, please visit westgov.org/initiatives. And be sure to join us next time when rural development experts Benjamin Winchester and Jennifer Groth address misconceptions surrounding the current rural narrative, as well as ways that leadership and community development contribute to rural prosperity. Finally, WGA would like to thank our initiative sponsors, Western Governors University and Grow with Google, which helped make this production possible.